Week 13 sits and starts from every single matchup. What is up, boys? Ron from Never Lucky. Thank you guys for being here. We got some bad over-unders, man. We got a lot of low-scoring games. That's what Vegas thinks it's going to be. So let's go through every game, dude. One by one, we'll talk about some of the sit starts. We'll look at fantasy points against each position the last 4 weeks. We want to try to find those soft matchups. I want to help you guys avoid some of the tougher matchups. Let's get into this video. Rams-Panthers, another big game here. We got the 6-6 Panthers. This is essentially a must-win for them. If they lose, they're probably out of the playoffs. So, and this team really thinks they can make the playoffs, man. They think they can make a splash. They looked pretty good early on, but I think the Rams are just going to dominate, man. It's a 44.5 over under. Rams are 10-point favorites, so blowout setup for the Rams here. They're heavy favorites, and the matchup is great for them. Carolina is allowing the third most points to running backs the last 4 weeks, so Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, bro, lace them up, dude. You guys are probably going to cook in this one, so you start them with confidence. Carolina is also bottom tier against tight ends and quarterbacks. So Matt Stafford, Kyren Williams, Colby Parkinson is somebody that I actually want to start in this game. I know he's not projected for much on Sleeper, but I think he's going to get home again, man. This is just a team when they get into the red zone, when they get to the goal line, they're passing to their tight ends, dude, and they're getting them touchdowns. And Higbee is obviously out, so that's one less mouth to feed. Colby Parkinson did get the touchdown in the last game, so I want to start him. And then on the other side of the ball here, guys, negative game script, but the Rams are top 10 against quarterbacks and wide receivers. Fuck. So Rico Dowdle is kind of the only one who could produce, but it's going to be a negative game script. So if he can get the receiving work, and maybe he can get home, but you're kind of fading him in this one, man. Like, I'm not super confident playing him, but just off of volume alone, you probably still want to start Rico Dowdle. It could be a back and forth game. Tedderell McMillan in a negative game script, you're probably going to start him either way, but I would really temper my expectations, man. The Rams are legit against wide receivers and quarterbacks. This one could just be ugly, man. We saw what happened to the Buccaneers, who are a much more competent offense, and they scored 7 points against the Rams. So the Rams are a legit Super Bowl contending team. I probably think the Rams clear the spread. I mean, 10-point favorites. I think they probably just dominate Bryce Young. Next up, 49ers at Browns. This one is horrible, guys. A 35.5 over under. 49ers are 4.5-point favorites. So low scoring game with 49ers only being a 4.5-point favorite. I don't love that. I think you probably temper your expectations. The Browns are number 1 against wide receivers, top 3 against quarterbacks, and they're 4th best against running backs, man. So across the board, they're top 5 in every category. Can you imagine if the Browns had a quarterback this season? If they had a competent quarterback, like forget Joe Flacco early on, if they had like a legit good veteran, somebody, you know, like a Sam Darnold, I think this team could be a playoff contending team, dude, potentially even a Super Bowl contending team. Their defense is so fucking good. They have some talented pieces with Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins. Shit, I'll even say Jerry Jeudy. This team could have made some noise, but they just don't have a quarterback. And on the other side, man, San Francisco, they're pretty good against the pass, against quarterbacks. They're pretty good against tight ends as well. So I don't really want to start Fannin and Njoku if I can't or if I don't have to. But when it comes to wide receivers, the 49ers are getting gashed. Do you really want to start Tillman or Jeudy? I think out of the two, Judy's probably the best bet for maybe a touchdown, but I don't want to start any of them. I don't want to start Jennings. I don't want to start Pearsall. Christian McCaffrey's an auto start. Obviously, he's like the number 1 fantasy player this season. Brock Purdy, I want to fade him. Dude, I don't want to start Brock Purdy if I don't have to. But George Kittle, you're going to start him because, you know, the Browns, if they're going to give up points to anything, tight end is probably it, right? That's probably where you can beat them a little bit. But this is an ugly game, dude. I want to avoid it if I can. Next, let's move down to Texans, Colts, 44.5 over under. Colts are a 3.5-point favorite here. So I think this is going to be a brutal game. Both teams have pretty decent defenses. Both teams have, at times, anemic offenses. So let's talk about it, man. All right, the Colts are allowing the 5th most points to running backs. So Woody Marks is somebody that we can start in this game. I do think he's going to get most of the work. He's essentially taken over for Chubb. Chubb really didn't do much in the last game, even in a positive game script. So Stroud is someone where if you're really desperate, you can maybe throw him in there because this is a divisional game. Both teams is kind of must win for them. Like if the Texans take this game and they go to 7-5 and the Colts drop to 8-4, this is anybody's division, right? The Colts are really letting this division slip, and this is a massive game, dude, because if you can steal this game, it's essentially a 2-game swing here. So the Texans are going to be playing to win this game, dude, and they're going to be leaning on Woody Marks, going to be leaning on Nico Collins, and the matchup is decent enough for Nico. It's nothing to worry about. The Colts are middle of the pack against wide receivers. And on the other side, guys, the Texans have been really good against running backs on the season, but in the last 4 games, they're bottom 10. So they're getting gashed. I don't know what happened to the defense. It seems to have taken a step back. So Jonathan Taylor, this could be a big game for him, man. It basically depends on what Texans team shows up. We get Stroud back potentially, so maybe the offense is a little bit better. The defense doesn't have to be on the field as much. Maybe that means their defense shows up again, or maybe Jonathan Taylor gets bottled a little bit. We just don't know, right? We don't know what version of the Texans shows up. Is it the early season version of the Texans? Maybe Jonathan Taylor has another bad game, dude. Jonathan Taylor has been having some bad games lately. But the big concern, I think, in this game is that it could be a slugfest. It could be a low pace game, low scoring. I know it says 44.5 over under, but I think for the most part, you're probably going to start most of the pieces here. You're not going to start Daniel Jones against this Texans defense, which is fucking legit against the pass. But Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, Pierce, I guess you could start them, but I would really temper my expectations. This is a Texans team, dude, that has bottled up players other than slot wide receivers, essentially. Khalil Shakir is the only one to really do anything in the last game when the Texans played the Bills. On the other side, you can start Collins with, confidence. You could start Higgins with some confidence. He's getting a lot of work. And then when it comes to tight ends, you can start both of them because the Texans actually struggle against tight ends. So Tyler Warren's in a really good spot here. Dalton Schultz, again, as I mentioned, the Colts, they're really struggling against tight ends. So you want to start both of them in this matchup. Saints-Dolphins, not too much to talk about here. 41.5 over under, disgusting. Miami are 6-point favorites. And, they're strong home favorites here, man. It's a low point total. It's a tough setup for the Saints here. Miami has been top 10 against running backs, quarterbacks, and tight ends the last 4 weeks. They're absolutely dominating. Wide receivers, like the only one that you can maybe do something. So I really don't want to start Devin Neal if I don't have to. I know on the season, the Dolphins have been pretty brutal, but lately, the last 4 weeks, absolute shutdown, dude. They've been shutting down pretty much everyone since like the bye week. So on the other side of the ball, the Saints will have the 12th most points to wide receivers the last 4 weeks. So you're feeling pretty confident about Jaylen Waddle here. You're feeling really confident about Devon Etienne as well because the Saints are just, below average against running backs. So it's a bad spread. You're feeling confident about Miami Dolphins players, definitely not Tua, and you're feeling real sketchy about Devin Neal, dude. I know he's in a smash start on paper, right? Because the Miami Dolphins have been bad on the season, but I'd feel really unconfident about starting Neal in this one. Chris Olave, you could start him because that is where the Dolphins kind of struggle. It is against wide receivers. That's kind of the only thing that's been beating them the last couple of weeks. They've been a little bit better, man. So tread lightly in this one. I wouldn't really expect a huge game from Olave, but you just never know. The Miami Dolphins could regress and could revert to being a bad defense again. And then Olave gets home, right? But I know he is dealing with a little bit of an injury. He's day to day. He's got back spasms. So I don't really know. I mean, I don't want to start him if he's dealing with back spasms. And then when it comes to tight ends, I don't really know if you're feeling confident. I know both teams are not very good against tight ends, but do we really want to start Darren Waller in his first game back? Maybe. I mean, he's in play to return in week 13. Juwan Johnson has been pretty serviceable. Taysom Hill is still there. You can still steal some goal line. That's another reason why I don't really love Devin Neal in this one. So, all right, guys, we got Falcons Jets next, 39.5 over under. This is going to be a disgusting game. 2.5 point favorites are the Falcons, and the Jets have been good, dude. Top 10 against quarterbacks and tight ends the last 4 weeks. Average numbers to running backs. So you want to start Bijan either way. Darnell Mooney, I'd be really, really worried about starting him at the end of the day. Darnell Mooney is someone where he's kind of the only man in town, and the Jets are not that good against wide receivers. They've been really good against running backs. So you're probably still going to start Bijan, obviously. He's like a top 5 play every single week. But Darnell Mooney, maybe, dude. Maybe he can get home again. He caught a deep bomb touchdown to really save the day. I started him, and I was feeling real sad about starting him most of that game. Catches, I think the last points the Falcons scored in the last one. I would probably start him in this game because I do think the Falcons are going to have to move the ball. And the Jets, their defense has been a lot better since those trades, which is actually crazy. But on the other side of the ball, the Falcons, they're bottom 10 against wide receivers and running backs. Does that mean another John Mechie game? Does that mean another Adonai Mitchell game? I just don't know. Let me know what you guys think. You're probably going to be starting Breece Hall because they've been bottom 10 against running backs. So the Falcons, I don't know what happened. Their defense was good early in the season. They became really bad. I mean, bottom 10, right? So this is going to be a disgusting game, man. I'm not going to start Mason Taylor. There's just not enough meat on the bone there. It's going to be a slugfest. I wouldn't feel confident about starting anyone, but if anyone is going to produce, this is the way I view it. This is just my theory here. It's going to be like John Mechie for another like 12 fantasy points. Darnell Mooney, maybe another like 12 to 14 fantasy points, which is actually pretty good if you can start a guy who gets you that. Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall both get home. Bijan probably the slightly better play. All right, man, next matchup, Cardinals Buccaneers, 43.5. Another low over-under. What is going on, dude? 3-point favorites, the Buccaneers. So this is going to be a tight game, potentially, right? So the Bucs have allowed the most wide receiver points the last 4 weeks. So they're absolutely getting gashed by wide receivers. And basically, Marvin Harrison is limited in practice again. If he plays, you start him. You start Michael Wilson as well. I think both guys are just going to be starts rest of the season. Jakobi Brissett is another really good start because, you know, the Bucs have just, they're bottom 3 against quarterbacks. Bottom 3 the last 4 weeks. They're giving up a lot of points to quarterbacks. And conversely, the Buccaneers have been notoriously good against running backs, especially if Vita Vea is in the game, which I think he is playing. So you're sitting Zonovan Knight. But, the Buccaneers on paper actually haven't been that good against running backs. I just know what they're capable of doing. And then on the other side of the ball, Arizona ranks really poorly against wide receivers and quarterbacks. So you're starting Baker Mayfield with confidence. You're starting all the wide receivers. So Egbuka, even Tez Johnson is a dude that you can probably throw in your lineup. And then you're going to start Bucky if he plays. Right. And it looks like, full walkthrough. He logged full practice. I don't know if that means he had contact. If he's out again, Sean Tucker is somebody I'm starting. I'm going to go back to the well there. Even if Bucky plays, I saw a report that Bucky Irving is going to get the same amount of touches that Godwin got in his first game, which was about 20 snaps. So that still puts Sean Tucker in play as a volume-based guy, right? I think Bucky Irving gets some valuable touches, but Sean Tucker might be the guy here, right? He still might get one more week of being the starter. So in terms of like a deep league play, somebody that you want to throw in at your flex and just hope that he gets a lot more work than we expect, I think Sean Tucker's actually a really good start here. All right, we're kind of jumping around here. We got Vikings Seahawks. All right, this game is simple, man. 41.5 over under, and the Seahawks are 11.5 point favorites. That means the Vikings are going to score like 14 points. I don't do public math here, but Seattle has been top 10 against running backs and tight ends. So I don't know what you do here, right? I guess Aaron Jones could maybe get home if that's the one place that the Seahawks kind of get beat up on, but it's such a low over under with them only projected to score like 14 points. So I don't really want to start any of these guys. I don't want to start Jones if I don't have to. It's just, dude, who is this? Max Brosmer. He's going to be the starting quarterback. Do you want to start anyone against the Seahawks? They might score 6 points total. So I don't know, man. I don't really want to start anyone. Hawkinson has been bad. He hasn't really helped us. Jefferson hasn't really been doing much, and that was with McCarthy. Now he's got a downgrade at quarterback, so you're probably still going to start Jefferson and just hope that this dude Max Brosmer is like, you know what, I'm just going to throw the ball 15 times to Jefferson. And on the other side, the Vikings actually have a pretty good defense, man, especially against wide receivers. They're 5th best in the last 4 weeks. So you're still going to start JSN, but I don't want to start anyone else outside of him. Rashid Shaheed just hasn't been big enough. He hasn't commanded any targets really for the Vikings. 5 and then 2 targets. So you don't really want to start Rashid Shaheed. It's pretty much JSN. It's Kenneth Walker, but, temper your expectations in this one. But I do think it could be a situation where they just lean on the run here. And the Seahawks, Kenneth Walker gets a touchdown, Zach Charbonnet gets a touchdown, JSN gets a touchdown, and that's all she wrote. So I don't really want to spend too much time. Sam Darnold, I don't want to start him because this can be a game that they're leading early and he's not needed the second half. So I don't want to start Darnold. I don't want to start Brosmer. And that's pretty much it for that one, man. AJ Barner, I don't want to start him either. Usually you want to start tight ends in games where maybe they're playing from behind or it's like a tight game, a neutral game script. I don't want to start Barner. Bills Steelers, thank God we finally have a high over under. It's the highest on the slate and it's only 46.5. And the Bills are 3.5 point favorites. Holy shit, man. And this is a great matchup for all pass catching options. Pittsburgh has allowed the 4th most wide receiver points in their bottom 10 against quarterbacks. So smash Josh Allen, smash Khalil Shakir. That's probably it. Buffalo, they've quietly been gashed on the ground, man. 8th most running back points allowed the last 4 weeks. So we can start Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell in this game. I think both guys are going to be heavily leaned on in this one. Aaron Rodgers might be back. I'm not actually sure. Let's have a look. Full practice on Thursday. So Aaron Rodgers should play. He's going to have one hand, but he's just going to be handing the ball off to Warren and Gainwell. I think Metcalf could maybe get home here. The Buffalo Bills passing defense is actually decent, but nevertheless, you can still start wide receivers against them. I don't really want to start anyone else. I don't want to start any tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, if he comes back and plays, you could probably throw him in. You probably don't have much better options if you're relying on Dalton Kincaid. Let's do Jags, Titans next. 41.5 over under, another low over under. 5.5 point favorites, the Jaguars are. It's crazy that you're only 5.5 point favorites against a 1-10 team. Low total, slow game. Running back should be able to do stuff here, but the Tennessee Titans have been the 3rd stingiest defense against running backs the last 4 weeks. So something's got to give you, right? I think the Titans are not that good of a defense. They've just been playing well lately. So what does that mean? Does that mean we start Etienne and Tootin in a game that they should win pretty easily, or not, because their defense has actually been playing well against running backs? I think you're probably definitely still going to be starting Etienne in this one. And then the Titans are actually bottom 3 against wide receivers. So they've been good against running backs, bad against wide receivers. That means we could start Meyers. We can start Parker. If Brian Thomas plays, I guess you can throw him in there, but I wouldn't feel too confident about it. And then on the other side, man, Jacksonville the last 4 weeks have been top 10 against running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. So the tight ends are really the only place you can kind of beat the Jaguars at the moment, just the last 4 weeks. So are you going to feel confident throwing Gunnar Helm in there or Okonkwo? I don't really know. I think I'm probably starting Brenton Strange when it comes to the tight ends in this game, and I'm probably benching the other two guys. Chimere Dike is somebody who's interesting, considering LK Manor was limited on Thursday, so we need to see Friday's practice report, but Chimere Dike might be really the only guy out there, so I think we can probably start Chimere Dike in this game, and just hope that Cam Ward looks good, hope that he gets out of the pocket, creates, I don't really want to start Tyjae Spears or Pollard because the Jaguars have been top 10 against running backs. So this is a tough one, dude. It's going to be low scoring. Like I want to avoid the Titans players, but I'm just excited about Chimere Dike. So my dumbass is going to be starting him, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it to you guys. We are pushing through this, man. Raiders, Chargers, 40.5 over under. Disgusting. Chargers are 8.5 point favorites. Divisional game, low scoring. The Chargers have a good defense. The Raiders have an anemic offense. I don't really know what to do here. The Raiders are bottom 3 against tight ends. So you're starting Gadsden with a lot of confidence. They're also weak against quarterbacks and running backs. So you could start Herbert. You could start Gadsden. You could probably start Hampton if he plays. If he doesn't, you can start Vidal with some confidence here. You're just essentially starting everyone, man. You're starting McConkey. Quentin Johnson, I would still put him in my lineup and just pray that he catches like a deep touchdown. And on the other side, the Chargers, they're bad against wide receivers and quarterbacks, but you're probably not going to want to start Geno. You can probably start Trey Tucker and just hope that he produces again. He's kind of hot or cold, but the Chargers have been getting gashed, man. The last 4 weeks, 5th most points to wide receivers, bottom 3 against quarterbacks. So I know their defense is usually good, but they've been struggling lately, man. So this is one of those games. It's kind of a little bit under the radar. It's a low over under. It could turn out to be a little bit of a higher scoring game just because both of these defenses have not been playing well lately, man. So you can probably start Tucker. You can start McConkey, Quentin. Gadsden is a smash start. Bowers, you're obviously starting, but I'm trying to fade Geno Smith in this one. Genty, he's just getting too much volume. Probably have to start him. Broncos at Commanders, 43.5 over under. Broncos are 6 point favorites in this one. Washington's defense have given up the second most points to wide receivers the last 4 weeks, second most points to running backs, and they're pretty below average against quarterbacks. So on the Broncos side, you're starting everyone. You're starting RJ Harvey. You're starting Bo Nix. Shit, you can even start fucking Jaleel McLaughlin. He might be good for a touchdown in this one. You're starting Sutton. You're starting Franklin. And you're benching everyone else. That's pretty much it. And then on the other side of the ball, guys, Broncos are top 5 against running backs and quarterbacks, so you don't want to start Chris Rodriguez or Ja'Cory Krosky. You don't want to start tight ends because they don't allow a lot of production there. You can maybe start Deebo Samuel and just hope he gets like an end around, but I don't want to start Terry McLaurin in his potential first game back against a really good defense, but he's probably going to be getting shadow covered. Deebo Samuel's kind of the only guy that I think could do something in this game, but even then I wouldn't feel confident, dude. This could be an absolute blowout of a game. If Jaden Daniels is playing, I feel a little bit better. But I don't want to start Zach Ertz in this game. The Broncos defense has just been legit across the board. Last game, guys, another high scoring game. Thank God. Giants at Patriots, 46.5 over under. And the Patriots are 7 point favorites. So they're still expecting Jaxon Dart and the Giants to lose this one, but I like the over-under in this one, dude. So the Giants are the most exploitable run defense in the NFL, 38.5 points per game to running backs, worst in the NFL, especially the last 4 weeks. So you're going to start Trevon and Rhamondre in this one. Both of them could get home. I think Rhamondre Stevenson is actually a really sneaky start in this one. And on the other side, the Patriots, they're the toughest running back defense in the NFL, guys. Top 10 against quarterbacks and tight ends. Wide receivers kind of the only place you can beat them. So I do think Wandale is actually a decent start. But this game is really simple, man. You're starting Jaxon Dart. You're starting Tracy because he can potentially get some receiving work against the Patriots. And you're starting Wandale. Theo, I don't want to play in this one. I know he's been pretty good lately, but I don't want to play him. And on the other side, smash start Trevon, smash start Rhamondre Stevenson, smash start Drake May. Shit, you can even start Diggs and Boutte, man. I think both of those guys could get home in this game. I think this could be it's a 46.5 over under. I think it could be a much higher scoring game. I do think Jaxon Dart can keep this game interesting. He can actually put points on the board. So this can be a back and forth game for a while. I think the Patriots end up just kind of steamrolling them. At the end of the day, the Giants just don't have enough weapons, bro. There's not enough talent out there on the field. We made it through the video. We got through all the remaining matchups on the slate. I even put on a nice shirt for you guys in this video, man. So make sure you guys like the video just for that. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you think some of these matchups are going to be better than they seem on paper. There's a lot of low over-unders in this one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for giving me your time. Make sure you guys join the Discord. It is a dope community. We're talking ball every time. We're helping each other with sit starts, waiver wires, trade advice, all that cool stuff, dude. Make sure you guys join it. The link will be down below in the description as well as in the comments. Thank you guys for being here again, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.